You didn't find this video. It was drawn to you. It appeared in your awareness because your inner world has shifted. The vibration of your I am has changed, just enough to be ready. This is not entertainment. This is a signal, a mirror. It means something large, something you have been assuming in the unseen, is now at the door, but it cannot enter until you understand the keys. You've been taught to work hard, to struggle, to chase. That is the great sleep. In the next few minutes, you will remember how to receive. You will remember how to select. You will remember the operant power that is already you. If you are ready to stop chasing and start being, your transformation begins now. This video finding you, now, is not an accident. It is a signal. It means the vibration of your inner world has shifted just enough to hear this. It means something large, something you have been building in the unseen, is now approaching the veil. It is ready to be born. But its arrival depends entirely on this next phase. It depends on your understanding of the foundational key. For decades, you have been trained by the outer world to trust only what your five senses report. You wait for the evidence, the proof, before you will allow yourself to believe. This is the great inversion. This is the spiritual hypnosis that has kept you locked in a loop of repetition, experiencing the same shadows day after day. You do not believe because you see. The law is and has always been that you see, because you have first believed. Your consciousness, the operant power within you, the I am, is the only cause. The physical world is only an effect. It is a mirror, and it can only reflect the face you are making now in your imagination. Your assumption, the state you consent to, is the blueprint. The physical manifestation is simply the delayed reflection of that blueprint. This is the divine sequence. The desire you feel is not a fantasy. It is a promise from your deeper self that the reality already exists for you to select. Believing is not hoping. It is knowing. It is the act of standing firm in your inner world, in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even when the shadow world screams the opposite. This faith, this unwavering belief, it is not a passive emotion you wait for. It is not a gift bestowed upon a lucky few. It is a choice. It is a deliberate act of spiritual audacity. It is a state of mind that you train. It is a muscle you develop. You have been trained to be faithful to the evidence of your senses. Now, you will retrain your mind to be faithful to the evidence of your imagination. This is the great work. Your consciousness is an infinite house with infinite rooms. For too long, you have been living in the room of lack, or the room of waiting, or the room of hoping. You have been staring at the walls of that room, mistaking them for the entire house. Faith is the decision to get up, to walk out of that room, and to consciously, deliberately, enter the room where your desire is already a finished, present fact. You choose to live there, in your imagination. You train this state by withdrawing your attention from the problem, by refusing to give one more ounce of your creative energy to the facts of your current reality. Those facts are merely the ghosts of your old assumptions. They have no power unless you give it to them. Your Oper am. When you declare, I am, you are not wishing. You are commanding. You are selecting the reality you will now experience. This state is trainable, and it is your primary responsibility. This alignment of your internal state is the only true will of God. You have been taught to seek a will outside of yourself, a complex set of rules you must follow to be deemed worthy. This is another inversion. The divine, the source, the I am, it is not a plan for you. It is a power in you. And this power seeks only one thing: fuller, richer, more expansive expression through you. How does it signal its intent? Through desire. The deep, burning, authentic desire of your heart is not a selfish whim. It is the voice of your inner being, the I am, tapping you on the shoulder and saying, this, we are ready to become this. This reality is finished. Come and claim it. Therefore, aligning with the divine will is not about supplication. It is about agreement. It is the conscious act of aligning your assumption with the desire that has been given to you. The struggle you feel, the anxiety, the doubt, that is not the world fighting you. That is you fighting your own desire. It is the friction between your old, inherited state of lack and the new state of fulfillment that is calling you. Your work is to stop arguing for your limitations. Your work is to agree with the desire, to accept it, to feel it as true, right now. This inner agreement is the only alignment that matters. How do you build and sustain this new assumption, this new state? When the world of Caesar, the world of senses, screams its opposition, you use the tools of the disciplined mind. These are not children's games. They are the surgical instruments of the master. Visualization is the primary tool, but not the lazy daydreaming you are used to. True visualization is the act of occupying the reality. You are not watching a film. You are in the scene, in the first person. What do you feel? What do you smell? What is the texture of the object in your hand? Who is with you? Feel the relief, the gratitude, the solid knowing that it is done. This sensory vividness, saturated with the feeling of fulfillment, is the language that impresses your subconscious mind. This is what your I am responds to. Then, we use affirmations, or rather, declarations. An affirmation is not an attempt to make something true. It is a declaration of what you have already accepted as true in your inner world. The most powerful is, I am. I am is not a petition. It is a statement of fact in the only world that matters, your own consciousness. And finally, the written declaration. As Napoleon Hill taught, you write down your definite aim. You create a clear blueprint. You read it, you feel it, you infuse it with the emotion of it being already accomplished. You are giving your operant power a non-negotiable directive. You are building the new state, word by word, feeling by feeling, until it becomes your new home. You are beginning to understand. The key is to believe before the evidence appears. This belief is a choice, a state you deliberately train and occupy. You align with this new reality by agreeing with the desire that life has planted within you, knowing it is the signal of a finished creation. You use the tools of visualization and declaration not to create the reality, but to impress your subconscious mind with the feeling of the reality you have selected. You are moving from a state of waiting to a state of being. You are shifting your I am from the old assumption to the new one. You feel the power in this. You feel the truth of it ringing in your bones. This is the foundational key, but that's only the surface. Knowing this is the foundation. But a foundation is useless if the channels are blocked. You can build the perfect inner state, but if the energy cannot move, it will stagnate. Belief must be paired with flow. Stagnation is the enemy of all manifestation. This brings us to the great law that governs the circulation of abundance. You must understand how to give in order to receive. Now go deeper. You have constructed the internal state, the assumption of your wish fulfilled. You feel it as real, but you look at your world and the manifestation seems delayed. Why? Because all of life, all of prosperity, all of love, all of health operates on the principle of movement. Life is flow. It is circulation. The universe does not recognize hoarding. It recognizes only currency, a current. Stagnation is the spiritual equivalent of death. It is the blockage that stops the flow. You have been taught to get, to acquire, to hold on. This creates a spiritual dam. You are afraid to let go. You hoard your money, fearing there won't be more. You hoard your possessions, clinging to old items that represent an old identity. You hoard your love, afraid of vulnerability. You hoard your time, afraid of wasting it. This act of hoarding, this clinging, it is a powerful declaration to your subconscious mind. It is a prayer of not enough. It is an assumption of lack. And your obedient I am, your inner consciousness, can only say amen to your assumption. It gives you more lack, more stagnation. To receive, you must move. Prosperity is not a static object you acquire. It is a current you step into. You must become a clear channel, not a blocked reservoir. The great spiritual law echoed in the text Luke 6:38, "Give, and it shall be given unto you," is not a moral directive for you to be nice. It is a physical law of consciousness. It is a description of the mechanics of reality. Giving creates the vacuum. Giving opens the channel. It is the act of releasing that creates the space for the receiving. You cannot pour fresh new wine into a bottle that is already full of old stagnant water. You must pour out to be filled up. This is the paradox that the rational mind cannot grasp. The rational mind says, I will give when I have more. The I am says, you will have more when you give. The giving is the proof of your belief. It is the physical action that demonstrates your assumption of abundance. When you give freely, without fear, without expecting a return from that specific channel, You are declaring to your own consciousness that you trust the source. You are declaring that you are the source. You are operating from a state of I am abundant, not I will be abundant. This shift in assumption is everything. The giving is the key that unlocks the flow. It is the movement that breaks the stagnation. How do you create this space? How do you release the old? It begins physically, and it moves to the mental. Look at your physical space, your home, your desk, your closet. Are they filled with clutter? Are they filled with items that remind you of a past you claim you want to leave behind? That clutter is not just stuff. It is stagnified energy. It is a physical anchor to your old state. Holding on to those clothes you might fit into one day, those gifts you never liked, those papers from projects that failed. You are holding on to the consciousness of lack, of failure, of just in case. You must be ruthless. You must release the old to make space for the new. When you clear your physical space, you are performing a powerful spiritual ritual. You are sending a clear, undeniable signal to your inner world. I am no longer that person. I am making space for the new reality. I am ready to receive. This act of clearing, of releasing, is a profound act of faith. It is the physical manifestation of your inner decision. It is the amen to your new assumption. The energy in your life must move, and it starts with the space you inhabit. The practical application of this law of flow is threefold: release, gratitude, and circulation. First, release the old. Go through your home. If you have not used it, loved it, or if it represents a past assumption, let it go. Donate it. Give it away. Throw it out. Feel the lightness as you create this vacuum. Feel the space you are creating for your new reality to rush in. Second, practice gratitude as a form of giving. Gratitude is not just being thankful for things. It is a state of being that gives recognition to the abundance already present. When you give genuine thanks for the air you breathe, the water you drink, the lessons you've learned, you are circulating positive magnetic energy. You are aligning your state with the frequency of abundance. And third, circulate your resources. This means financial generosity. It means giving of your time, your wisdom, your encouragement. Do not give to get. Give from a state of having. Give because you are abundant. This is the action of the new state. This is how you keep the channel open, clear, and flowing. This movement is the lifeblood of manifestation. You see, the inner state of belief is the blueprint. But the law of flow is what draws the materials to the construction site. You have aligned your assumption. You have now opened the channels by releasing the old and circulating your energy. You are no longer a stagnant pond. You are a flowing river. You are demonstrating your faith not just with your mind, but with your actions. You are living from the new state. But there is a deeper level. You can clear your closet. You can give your money. But what about the old agreements in your mind? What about the limiting beliefs? The old contracts you signed in moments of pain or fear? These are the invisible dams that still block the flow. Releasing a shirt is easy. Releasing an identity is the real work, and that requires a total renewal of the mind. This is where we confront the old self. This leads us to the core of the transformation. The text, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind," from Romans 12:2, is not a suggestion. It is the manual for changing your reality. Your mind, your consciousness, is a garden. For years, perhaps lifetimes, it has been overgrown with weeds. Weeds of limiting beliefs, old agreements, and inherited assumptions of lack. You did not plant many of them. They were given to you by a well-meaning but hypnotized world. It's hard to make money. You're not good enough. Love is painful. You must work hard for everything. These are not truths. They are agreements. They are old, dusty contracts that you, at some point, signed with your attention and your feeling. You signed them in childhood, in moments of pain, in moments of failure. And your faithful subconscious mind, your I am, has been enforcing these contracts ever. You have been living in a prison of your own, unconscious agreements. The renewing of the mind is the act of canceling these old contracts. It is the conscious decision to uproot the weeds, one by one, and to plant new seeds. You must identify and dismantle these old agreements. This is the work of the master. You must become a detective of your own consciousness. When you feel that familiar sting of not enough, or that pang of who am I to do this? Stop. Do not identify with it. Observe it. That is the old agreement. Give it a name. The I'm not worthy contract. The it's always a struggle agreement. The I'll be rejected assumption. You must bring these shadows into the light. The moment you see the belief as an it, as a program, rather than as you have already begun to sever its power. These beliefs were signed in times of pain. They were defense mechanisms. They were the assumptions you made to survive a past reality. But you are no longer there. That reality is finished. Unless you keep renewing the contract by feeling it as true today, your work is to stop renewing them. Your work is to consciously and deliberately terminate the agreement. You must stand in the center of your own mind and declare, "This contract is null and void. I am no longer bound by this assumption." It is not enough to simply identify the old belief. You cannot leave the garden empty. If you uproot a weed, you must plant a flower in its place. Immediately. This is the act of replacement. You must actively replace these limiting beliefs with foundational truths. What is a truth? A truth is an assumption rooted in your divine nature, in the I am. The old contract said, "I am not worthy." The truth is, I am. And that alone is the ultimate worthiness. I am a selection of the divine. The old contract said, "Money is hard to get." The truth is, I am the source of all abundance. Money is a current that flows to me, through me, and from me. The old agreement said, "I am afraid." The truth is, I am the operant power. I am the only consciousness in my world, and I select my reality. You must choose your new truths. You must build your new set of agreements. Agreements based on your power, not your limitations. This is the conscious reprogramming of the subconscious mind, a concept central to the work of Napoleon Hill. You are giving your mind a new set of instructions, a new blueprint. How do you make this reprogramming stick? How do you make the new belief feel more real than the old one? Through repetition and emotion. This is the key. Your subconscious mind, your I am, learns through feeling. A casual thought has little power, but a thought saturated with emotion, that is a command. This is the practical application. First, name the old belief. The belief that I must struggle. Second, confront it with the new truth. The truth is, I am, and my path is one of joy and ease. I select ease. Third, reprogram with feeling. You must feel the relief of the new truth. You must feel the freedom of the old contract being torn up. You do this through repetition. You create a mantra, a new declaration, and you repeat it with feeling. I am ease. I am abundance. I am free. You say it until you feel the shift in your body. You say it until it becomes your new natural state. You are impressing this new assumption onto the very fabric of your being. You are, quite literally, transforming your mind. You have faced the old beliefs. You have canceled the old contracts. You have begun the sacred work of reprogramming your mind with truth, using repetition and, most importantly, feeling. You are no longer living by the old inherited assumptions. You are consciously selecting your new state. You feel the change. The old anxieties don't have the same grip. The old fears seem distant. You are beginning to operate from a new center, a new I am. But this new state is delicate at first. The world is loud. The static of the collective consciousness, the noise of fear and worry and doubt, is constant. How do you protect this new state? How do you stabilize your connection to this new truth? This is not just about finding the state. It's about living in it. This requires you to tune your own consciousness, to find the frequency of faith and lock it in. This brings us to the frequency of faith. You must understand that faith is not an idea. It is not a religious concept. Faith, true faith, is a frequency. It is a specific state of certainty. The ancient text, Hebrews 11:1, calls it the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is substance. It is evidence. It is a palpable state you can enter. It is a calm, stable knowing, a frequency that exists above the chaotic noise of your emotions. Your anxiety has a frequency. Your fear has a frequency. Your doubt has a frequency. These are low, erratic, static frequencies. Faith is a high, clear, stable signal. You cannot listen to the static and the signal at the same time. You must choose. You must deliberately reduce the internal static, the noise of fear and worry, and endless distraction, so that you can clearly hear and hold the divine signal. the guidance of your I am. Your consciousness is a radio receiver. You are not creating the signal. You are tuning your dial to receive it. The necessity of reducing this internal static is paramount. You cannot hold the assumption of I am wealthy while simultaneously being tuned to the frequency of I am so afraid of my bills. The two states, the two assumptions, are mutually exclusive. The one you give your feeling and attention to is the one that will manifest. Therefore, the great work is to quiet the mind. It is to stabilize your state. You must become the master of your inner world, the guardian at the gate of your mind. When a thought of fear or worry, the static, arises, you do not fight it. Fighting it gives it energy. You do not fear it. You simply observe it and change the channel. You withdraw your attention from it. You refuse to feel it. You return immediately to your chosen state, to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is spiritual discipline. This is the difference between the novice and the master. The master is not someone who never feels fear. The master is someone who refuses to identify with it, who can feel the static and still choose to hold the frequency of faith. Faith is this calm, stable state of spirit. It is not manic excitement. It is not desperate hope. It is a deep, abiding, quiet certainty. It is the feeling. It is done. It is the peace that comes from knowing your inner world is the only cause. This state can be induced. It can be cultivated. You do not have to wait for it. You command it. You select it. You practice it, just as a musician practices scales. How? By mastering your body and your focus. Your breath is the great stabilizer. When the mind is racing with static, stop and breathe. A slow, deep, conscious breath, in and out. This simple act physically interrupts the anxiety pattern. It brings your consciousness out of the imagined future, worry, or the dead past, regret, and anchors it now. In this now moment, in this calm center, you are the operant power. Here you can choose your state. You can select the frequency of faith. This calm, stable knowing is your natural state. The static is the imposter. The practical application of tuning this frequency is a daily, moment-by-moment practice. First, use your breath. Use it as an anchor. The moment you feel the static rising, anchor yourself back to the now with your breath. Second, use anchor phrases. These are not long affirmations, but short, powerful reminders of the truth. I am. It is done. I am the operant power. I choose this state. A simple, short phrase that instantly realigns your mind. Third, practice gratitude. Gratitude is the native frequency of faith. You cannot be in a state of genuine gratitude and a state of fear at the same time. Start and end your day by feeling gratitude for the reality you have selected, as if it is already here. Fourth, and this is crucial, reduce your exposure to negative inputs. Stop feeding your mind a steady diet of static. The news, the gossip, the endless scrolling through outrage and fear. You are trying to hold a high frequency while bathing your consciousness in low-frequency noise. Be selective. Protect your mind. Guard your state. This is how you stabilize the frequency. This is how you live in faith. You have done the work. You have replaced the old contracts. You have practiced tuning your consciousness to the clear, high frequency of faith, the calm knowing that it is done. You are stabilizing this new state, protecting it from the static of the outer world. You are breathing in this new reality. You feel the stability. But there is one final critical piece. You can have the right belief, the right flow, the right mindset, and the right frequency. But if your emotional state is misaligned, you will short-circuit the entire process. The final layer of the great work is emotional alignment. This entire journey is governed by feeling. Feeling is the key. And the two most powerful magnets in the universe, the two feelings that can either block or accelerate everything, are gratitude and forgiveness. Gratitude is not just a polite thank you. It is not a ritual you perform. Gratitude is a strategic language. It is the native tongue of your subconscious mind. It is the feeling that closes the loop. When you are in a state of genuine gratitude, not for your desire, but as if you have already received it, you are sending the most powerful signal possible to your I am. You are feeling the reality of the wish fulfilled. This feeling of gratitude is the magnetic force that draws the physical components of your reality into alignment. The universe, your consciousness, does not respond to your words of I am grateful. It responds to the feeling of I have. Gratitude is the ultimate assumption. It is the feeling of the new state. It is the language that directs your subconscious mind toward abundance. It opens the pathways. It is the frequency of receiving. When you live in a state of gratitude, you are in a perpetual state of having. And to him who has, more shall be given. But there is a block. There is an anchor that can hold you in the old state, no matter how much you visualize or affirm. That anchor is unforgiveness. Forgiveness is the most misunderstood spiritual tool. You have been taught that it is a moral duty you do for someone else. This is a lie. Forgiveness is a necessary, selfish act of release that you do for yourself. Holding on to resentment, anger, bitterness, or hurt. It is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That resentment is a low-frequency, high-static emotional charge. It is a declaration, an assumption, that you are a victim. As long as you feel like a victim, as long as you are holding on to that old pain, you are anchored to the very state you are trying to leave. Your I am cannot simultaneously hold the assumption, I am a victim of my past, and I am the powerful creator of my present. You must choose. Holding on to resentment, to that old story, blocks the flow of grace, of prosperity, of love. Matthew 6:14-15. If you forgive not, neither will your Father forgive. This is not a threat from an angry God. It is a mechanical law. Your Father, your I am, your own consciousness, cannot give you the new reality of freedom and abundance while you are still assuming the old reality of bondage and pain. You must release them, and you must release yourself. You are holding others in an internal prison in your mind. You are replaying the scene, the argument, the betrayal, over and over. You are giving your precious creative energy, your I am, to a dead past. You must understand, they are not in your prison. You are. You are the jailer, and you are the prisoner, locked in the same cell. Releasing them, forgiving them, is the act of reclaiming your own mental and creative energy. It is the act of taking your I am back from that old story. It is the ultimate act of self-love. It is the declaration, I am no longer willing to use my present moment to recreate a past pain. I am free. This release, this forgiveness, it is the dissolving of the emotional anchor. It is what finally allows your ship to sail. So, what is the practical application? First, a specific ritual for gratitude, the 3A3 ritual. 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. Stop for 60 seconds. And for those 60 seconds, feel gratitude for 3 specific things in your new assumed reality. Feel the gratitude for the money in your account. Feel the gratitude for the love in your life. Feel the gratitude for your perfect health. Feel it until your body resonates with it. This retrains your emotional home base. Second, a step-by-step process for forgiveness. You do not have to talk to the person. This is an internal act. At night, before sleep, name the pain. See the person or the event in your mind. Acknowledge the pain. Yes, that happened. I felt that. Then, choose freedom. Say, internally, I am no longer willing to pay for this. I release you. I let you go. I reclaim my energy. I forgive you, and I am free. You may have to do this many times, but each time you are dissolving the anchor, you are choosing your new state, a state of freedom, of grace, of flow. This is the final alignment. You have done it. You have understood the foundational key, believing first. You have opened the flow by releasing the old. You have renewed your mind by canceling the old contracts. You have tuned your consciousness to the high frequency of faith. And now, you have aligned your emotional state through the power of gratitude and the profound release of forgiveness. You are no longer the person who started this video. The assumption has shifted. The state has changed. The I am within you has selected a new reality. The great thing that was coming is no longer coming. By changing your state, you are already there. You are no longer manifesting. You are. And from this new state, the shadow world, the physical world, must and will conform. The shift is done. The old state is finished. You are no longer the one who waits. You are the one who selects. This is your power, the I am. The only question is, what reality will you assume true? Right now, tell me in the comments below, what old contract did you just cancel? Subscribe, turn on the notifications, Your remembering has only just begun. And if this video woke something up inside you, the next video is your command to go deeper. Click it, now.